Hello and welcome to the very last video of the series Lessons of War. I promise it's the last, like pinky promise. But actually I was planning from the very beginning that I would make 9 videos with the topics and 1 video as a conclusion of the series, because while I was making the whole series, a lot of interesting things were happening to me, and also the making of this series was another new and interesting experience, and that's why I wanted to share some things which were happening around it and during it and alongside with it. Actually, I was thinking about this series for a very long time, but I feel like something unusual started to happen from the very beginning when I made the scheme of the series, like a general draft of all of the topics that I was going to include, because it's been like over a year since I first got this idea of making such series, and I had the draft for the topics in a lot of my notebooks everywhere. Sometimes I would just revisit this idea and then forget about it and then revisit it again. The boss came to see what I'm doing here. And I had like a lot of different ideas about it, but at some point, and I think it happened at the beginning of this year, or maybe in February or maybe in March, I'm not sure, I just sat down and I wrote down, it felt very in the flow and very guided when I just wrote down every topic in this exact order, how I made these videos in the end. And I wrote it down and I felt like I was in some kind of a creative trance or something like this. So it felt not like I'm putting any intention or not putting any of my intelligence or my thinking into making this plan, but rather it felt like I'm just writing down something that has been told to me from the inside. And it was the first very unusual experience. And the interesting thing was that I'm a kind of a person who very often doubts everything that I create, and I rethink a lot of things and I rethink a lot of ideas and I change them and all that. But when I wrote this plan for the topics, I never changed anything in it. So as I had it from the very beginning, these 9 topics of the videos, the same way they remained through half a year since I started making it. And that was the first unusual thing that happened to me while making this series. Another interesting thing was that even though I knew the topics for the videos, I wasn't sure how they would open up, how they would manifest. And the nuances of each topic would open up to me right before I was making the video. So, for example, I would make the first video. I made my first video, and I knew that before I was making the first video, I knew that the second video was going to be about nervous system regulation and how to feel safe in your body. But at that time, I thought I would just make a video about different techniques of how to regulate your nervous system. Then I make the first video about information. I edit it, and I start to see different layers to the topic of nervous system regulation. And I started to think that, okay, but maybe it doesn't have to be about techniques. Maybe it has to be something else. And during those days, which were before I made the first video and the second video, my idea about the second video changed completely. I didn't make a video about the techniques. I rather made a video about the nuances of perception which allow nervous system regulation. And it happened with every single video. So when I'm making, for example, the second video, I know the topic of the third video, but I don't know what I'm going to be saying. And then when I finish the second video, the third video starts to open up to me. And it was also a very, magical, unusual experience. And I think during this whole process, I learned to trust in the emptiness, the emptiness which appears when I release something. So I release one topic and another one starts to upload, then download, upload, whatever. Or when I make the next topic, I finish the next topic, the next one starts to upload. So it's it was really fascinating how it was happening, and it was really, really unusual to me as well. Also, in the middle of the process, like after I made the 5th video, I started to really, I wasn't releasing them at that time, I started to really doubt everything that I do. Frankly speaking, I started to think, it's something obvious, it's some bullshit, or, nobody's gonna listen to it and nobody needs it. And during that time, around that time when I had this, creative crisis, I met some people. They are not from Ukraine, and they made a movie actually about the yogis of Ukraine during the war. It's a very cool movie. I have seen it and I am in it, and I will link it in the description at their website. And they were like, "Oh, you are making something, you are making some project, a YouTube project. It's so important, like the way you speak in our movie is so, precise and so wise and so nice and so important. We are so happy to know that you are making something new. It's going to be like very significant and very important for the world and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, oh, okay, I should make it probably. I should continue. It was really important, part of support, part of energy, because right in the middle of the series, I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing it at all. But I doubt that I was able to start at that point, because it all felt like, again, with my creative process, I really often, forget something, I postpone something, I don't do something for a number of reasons, actually. But with this series, I felt like I have to release it. I have to release it, otherwise it's going to explode inside of me, and I have no idea what will be the consequences of it. So it felt really, really like something that had to exist, had to be there. Also, there was a very interesting moment when we were making the photos for the covers. The local photographer, his name is Ilya, he was helping me with the covers. I will link him in the description as well, his Instagram. And when we made a plan, we somewhat were imagining what it could be. I discussed the topic with him, and he was like, okay, we need to go and check some places in the city where we could make these photos. And we were walking towards one of the places, and he was like, oh, look, there is a black and a white cat. And they were exactly they were sitting somewhere together, and there was a completely black and completely white cat. And it was so interesting that they looked so cute. We were like, oh, that's cute, a black and a white cat. And then in the evening, I needed to buy some additional things like candle, ribbon. You can see all of these things on the covers of different videos. And I was already paying for my purchase. And at the cash desk, I saw pins. And there was a pin with a black and a white cat playing with each other. And then I was like, oh my God, what is that? And I bought this pin and I gave it to the photographer as a present to remember about this project. And it was so cute and so, so aligned, and such a cute coincidence too. But also, this whole project was created with a lot of struggle, creative struggle. Whoever created anything will understand what I'm talking about. And it was connected with a lot of different things. One of them, that in this series and in all of my videos, actually, I really share my own experience. I really share myself, my nature, my being, what I am. And it makes me feel very vulnerable and very let's say, very sensitive, very open. And it gives a lot of opportunities for anyone who will see it to reject me for the very nature of who I am. And that was one of the biggest challenges for me, to overcome this fear of rejection and fear of judgment and fear of being seen generally. But also I have noticed that there was a very specific struggle that I had, and I realized that it was not only connected to this particular project, but to any project that I have ever thought of but never fulfilled. And it was the struggle connected with the fact that when something is fulfilled, when something is fulfilled in the real physical world, it's never the same as it was while it was in the form of an idea. So ideas are always ideal. Ideas are always perfect. But when you fulfill the idea in the real physical world, it's never like that. And the pain from not being able to fulfill something the way you imagine it, the way I imagine it, was so strong for so many years that he just came and sat down here. He never did it before. Okay. Was so strong that, dozens, maybe hundreds of my ideas have never been fulfilled. And while making serious lessons of war, I really feel like I was able to somewhat overcome it because I knew that it had to exist in any form that it can exist in. And because it felt like something that I really needed to make. But also, during this, like while I was making this series, I had one of the meditations. It was actually with my client. And in this meditation, I saw that I actually saw this process of when something stops being an idea, it becomes fulfilled in the real physical reality, and how it is sieved through something, through this barrier between the realm of ideas and the realm of physical reality. And I realized that it's the same process which happens when the soul is embodied on earth. Like when something ideal, because soul is something like ideas and souls, they come from the same realm to the physical reality. And whenever it is embodied in the physical reality, it is already flawed. It's just how it works in this world. It is the nature of the world that we live in. It's just something how it is. And the only way to overcome this difference, the difference between something ideal and something imperfect that is fulfilled in this physical reality, is through love. When the child is born, it has to be washed in love during all the time that it is a child. If some idea has been fulfilled, it has to be washed in this love and acceptance, in this acceptance of its imperfection. Why am I about to cry? Can anybody tell me why I'm about to cry? I'm not sure that I am already doing it the way I preach it, but I will be trying my best. And you will see there will be a lot of other videos in this on this channel, because I have a huge plan already, because the amount of ideas is crazy in this head all the time. But what I'm trying to say is that what helps me to create, despite the fact that, I have a very vivid imagination, and when an idea comes to me, I can see it really clearly, and I can see it, very from different dimensions and in different realms and in different planes and with different layers. But when it is fulfilled, it's always imperfect. It's like, it's like when you put a 3D object into 2D, it lacks dimension immediately. But still I'm trying to do it, and still I'm trying to open up my heart to it when I create it, because otherwise there's no point. The only thing that makes the idea valuable, except for the idea itself, is the love with which it has been brought into this world. Because otherwise, if there is no love and there is no acceptance and there is no this liberation that love gives, there is no point creating it. There's no point bringing a child to this world if you're not going to love them. There's no point in creating something if it's just a sacrifice, if it's just a struggle, if you're just, doing it for it to be done. And that's probably the most important thing that I have learned while making this project, Lessons of War. And maybe it is the most important lesson that I learned during this war, because weirdly, love is always an answer. Oh shit, why do I have to always have tears in my eyes whenever I speak about something like that? I don't know what this video is even about, okay? I just had to make it. And my cat came here and he's sitting here and supporting me morally and emotionally. And this is the video that I'm going to make today. I hope you watched the series. I hope this is not the first video, the series Lessons of War, that you're watching. It's not about that. There's only one video in which I cry in the series, out of 9. I think so. So it's okay, right? It's not just me crying. And I tell a lot of important things in the series. My cat beat me and ran away. This motherfucker knows when I'm sensitive and when I need support. And he also knows when I'm not sensitive and then I don't need support. Okay, whatever. I said everything that I wanted to say. There will be more videos here about all the things that I want to talk about. So subscribe to my channel. And that's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.